The Lions have made the move that everybody wanted them to make. Za'Darius Smith is here. He's a Detroit Lion. They only had to give up a 5th and a 6th. They got a 7th back along with Smith. And guess what? The Browns are eating about $5 million of his salary as well. So the Lions only have to pay him about $600,000 this year. Brad Holmes doing Brad Holmes' thing. That is Darren McCarty to my left. Spenmo Rax is in here. Hello. And then, of course, every Tuesday we bring the one, the only, Dr. Jeff Pierce into the building. How you doing, Doc?
I'm good. I love that intro, that energy.
Yeah, I like
Pickle
it.
Doc.
Yeah. How we doing?
We're doing good. I mean, it's trade deadline day.
Yep.
We just acquired Za'Darius Smith.
We didn't even hear about election, but it's trade deadline day.
There's an election going on?
Priorities, Doc. Priorities.
Yeah. I
like Woodward.
The United States should have checked their schedule and not scheduled the election during the trade deadline. I just think that's foolish to go up against the NFL.
That is true.
That's a billion-dollar conglomerate. You can't go up against them. You really can't.
They're trying to get more advertising dollars out there.
So trade deadline, obviously, physicals have to happen with the players. They need to be medically cleared. Just in a basic physical, I think we've all had them playing youth sports, but when you get to this level of professional sports, how in depth are they, and what do they look at in players before they let them be medically cleared to be traded?
Well, I mean, it definitely is much more in depth. I mean, we're looking at everything. You know, it's almost like Carfax, right? I'm gonna coin that one. So basically, you know their history, you know their injuries, you know what's going on in between. Some of the trade deadlines, are guys that have been on the injured reserve and they're moving, or guys that are healthy with, their nursing injuries. So there's a lot of insight. Sometimes all the insight doesn't get transferred over. But, I mean, the NFL is so sophisticated because it is a multi-billion-dollar industry. You're looking at everything in detail. It's not like bend over and cough type of examination.
I always had to just turn your head. I didn't get the bend over and cough. That's a whole new experience.
Well, don't go gross on me. It's you check for spinal bifida and scoliosis, the curvature of your spine.
Okay.
So we'll stick with that at the medical term for bending over and checking the spine.
Well, when we're looking at Za'Darius Smith, he doesn't have a really big injury history. I mean, you could go back to 2002. He was out 3 games. Knee questionable in week 4, knee questionable in week 11, and then just personal in week 18. So really nothing crazy about his medical history. When you see something like that, this guy is made for the long haul.
Yeah, you want to say that. If we get real detail, I've talked about muscle balance. I've talked about development. We talk about prevention work when we look at him. We look at his knee. Did he do the extra work in the rehab? Where his balance, you can measure side-to-side strengths, right? So you're looking at for deficits. So if we really want to look at them and evaluate, you can evaluate every muscle in their body now in comparison. So it's not just the gripper with the goniometer. It's like, what's your quad strength? What's your release? What's your quickness? What's your up? What's your acceleration? It's kind of like the combine. The combine looks at that. How many times? But they're not. That's not how it is. It's more like, is he healthy? Is all his extremities attached? Can this guy do what we need him to do at this point with him?
You said it's kind of like Carfax, right?
Yeah.
So when people sell cars, they try to hide things sometimes about the accident report and whatnot. How often are other doctors able to catch those things?
We do it a lot because that's why we're there.
Okay.
But like I've said multiple times, sometimes the training room is the last one to know some of their injuries because they don't want management to know. They don't want the trainers to know. And then there's teams that are like in a good place, like I think where Detroit is, where they're like, yeah, we want to be healthy. We got to do everything to stay healthy. Where other guys are like, yeah, my hand's been hurting me for a while. I don't really need to bring that up. I'm gripping a little bit different and things like that. But we can detect, huge things. Not like, his 4th finger isn't placed right. We look at everything anatomically. Like I've looked at some of the players. I'm like, how long does your hand look like that? He goes, well, back in college. Anybody say anything? No, they just want me to perform. So yes, we are skilled to look for it. And sometimes we're asked to look for it, and sometimes we're not asked to look for it.
Now, I'm going to speculate that the concussions in the head and stuff is the hardest thing to really, understand. But is there an injury, like when it comes to a knee, from where you mentioned technology has gotten for you guys? Is there an injury that when it comes in that you like to see more, or are there some that are tough? Like I guess maybe a tear as opposed to a break, as opposed to a knee or an ankle or a shoulder. Is there ones that are?
It's sometimes the nagging little BS stuff, like an elbow injury. It's like the elbow's not it's disrespected, just like the ankle. It's like we don't like to see that. Like ankle injuries are always overdone. Like I make fun of, do your 10 toe-ups. Well, we'll put him through a real advanced training and see how weak he is in that ankle, because that matters. Like a shoulder, those are big extremities. A lot of times guys are going to rehab it. But there's a lot of players that can't lift their shoulders above their heads. I mean, you know that. In hockey too. Hockey, they didn't need to lift above their heads. I mean, that was just something they worked with. So is there an injury we'd like to see? No. Back injuries are big, low back injuries. We can look, like a lot of times the athlete doesn't know, or an educated person like what we do, I can look at a back and tell you, okay, when did you injure your back? How long haven't you been strengthening it? Because there's muscle imbalance between his upper body and his lower body. Those are kind of things that are red flags for us. It's like a 20-year-old kid, a 25-year-old, he can out-strengthen it, but when you talk about longevity, we look at a lot of different parts. We look at really muscle imbalance. Plyometrics are huge. Acceleration, speeds are huge. So that's the kind of stuff we'll look at for that stuff.
Dr. Pierce joining us like he does every Tuesday right here on Woodward Sports at Big D Energy. Got a question from the chat. They want some free medical advice.
Go for it.
Please ask Dr. Pierce if PRP therapy is helpful to a meniscus tear previously operated on close to 20 years ago.
Absolutely.
Absolutely?
We can keep it simple, and I won't explain to everybody else with absolutely, or I'll go into a little bit of definition. PRP is platelet-rich plasma. I talk about secret sauces. That's one of the things as a secret sauce. It's not like a steroid injection. It's basically we draw your blood, we spin down the good healing properties, re-inject it into the area. So if you had a meniscus injury, for anybody who's like within 6 months of a meniscus injury, they would benefit from a PRP, because that's going to help accelerate. And it's like I can't say it helps the healing, promotes the healing, and even in an older 20 years ago, yeah, you could have done it 20 years ago, but like planting a tree, today's always a good day to start.
Well, appreciate your time as always, Dr. Pierce, with us every Tuesday right here on Woodward Sports, and it's Thursday with Ermanni and Edwards, right?
Right, and then our Thursdays are a big golf event, so it's golf. So everybody's going to be there. Mac's going to be there. More importantly, we got about 15 of our disabled athletes that are going to be there. Our sled hockey team's going to be there. Our basketball team's going to be there. We have a few people going for the Paralympics. So
can people still get involved in it?
Yeah, even if you want to stop by, say hello, we're going to be on the 3rd floor. We got the whole floor at Topgolf. I think it's the 3rd floor.
Okay.
Come by, say hi. You guys will be there.
Yeah.
We
got a whole bay, don't we?
Yeah, 2 bays.
Yeah, we do.
We're bringing the your charity people also. So
yep. Wicked Awesome Wishes.
We should have a good, Wicked Awesome. So I like this will be our first event we're kind of doing together. So I love helping and giving back, and I hope the audience does too. So this is our way of doing it.
Attention sports fans, don't miss out on Expert Sports Injury Insight with Dr. Jeff Pierce of Michigan Sports and Spine. Join Dr. Pierce every Tuesday during Big D Energy and Thursdays during Ermanni and Edwards, where he offers top-notch injury advice. Trust the guy that I trust. Dr. Jeff Pierce is here to keep you in the game and performing at your best. For more information, visit MichiganSportsandSpine.com or call 248-426-9944.